Have you eat yet? Have you eat yet? What is wrong with this sentence and why? Well, we are using the word have, which means that this sentence may be a perfect tense, right? And when we use a perfect tense, we need to use a past participle. So this sentence should be, have you eaten yet? Have you eaten yet? If you remember this simple and easy rule that after have, we normally use a past participle and not a present tense verb, this can really improve your grammar. You see, grammar is easy, right? Now let's look at some other sentences with this mistake. The first one, have you take the mail to him? But it should be, have you taken the mail to him? Taken is the past participle for take. The next one, what have you do? The correct way to say this should be, what have you done? Done is the past participle of do. And one more, I have never seen anyone drink so fast. But it should be, I have never seen anyone drink so fast, because seen is the past participle of see. So just remember, after have, we normally use a past participle. Easy, right? It's a 4 years course. It's a 4 years course. Is this sentence okay? Why or why not? Well, this sentence is not okay. Why? Because when we use a duration to describe something, or when we use an amount of time to describe something, we normally don't use S with the duration. For example, 1 year course, 2 year course, 10 year course, 2 day course. So with this sentence, it should be, it's a 4 year course, no S. Let's have a look at some other examples. The first one, it's a 3 year course. Is this okay? And why or why not? This one is okay because we're using the duration to describe the course and we haven't used an S. The next one, my course is for 5 years. Is this okay? Yes, it is. Why? Because we're not using the duration to describe the course, we are just saying what the duration is. And the last one, it's a 3 days thing. It's a 3 days thing. Is this okay? Why or why not? This is not okay because here we are using the duration to describe the thing. So what we should say is that it's a 3-day thing. So just remember, if you're using a duration to describe something, to describe a noun, we normally don't use S. Do you like ice cream? Yes, I like. Is this okay? No, it isn't. Why? Because like is what we call a transitive verb. A transitive verb is a verb that we need to use with an object. For example, I like it. I like dogs. I like cats. Because if you just say to a native speaker, I like, he might be a bit confused. Like what? What do you like? Now, I understand that maybe in your language, if you just say, I like, it's okay, but in English, it's not correct grammar. Remember, when you learn a language, stop translating from your language and start listening and copying native speakers. Okay, let's look at some more examples. It's my favorite thing I really like. Is this okay? No, it isn't, because we don't have an object. You need to say, I like it. Studying English is really fun and I like it. Is this okay? Yes, it is, because we've got an object. We said, I like it. Did you like the movie? Yes, I did like. Is this okay? No, it isn't, because again, there's no object. So we need to say, yes, I liked it. Why do we use ed? Because the question is in the past. Did you like the movie? So our answer also has to be in the past. So just remember, normally after like, we need an object. Easy, right? Was the movie good? Yes, I enjoyed. Is this okay? No, it isn't. Why? Because it's the same as the previous example. The word enjoy is a transitive verb. So when we use this verb, we need to use it with an object. So the correct answer should be I enjoyed it, or I enjoyed the movie. And again, I understand that in your language, maybe it's okay to say I enjoyed, but in English, it's not correct grammar. Okay, let's look at some more examples right now. I enjoy playing sport. Is this okay? Yes, it is, because we've got an object. Sport is the object. Sport is fun. I enjoy. Is this okay? No, because we don't have an object. Sport is fun. I'm really enjoying. Is this okay? No, it isn't, because again, we don't have an object. So the correct answer should be I'm really enjoying it. So just remember, after enjoy, we normally need an object. Easy, right? Everyone know him. Everyone know him. Is this sentence okay? No, it isn't. Why? Because everyone is considered singular. Because everyone is considered singular, we need to use a singular verb. Knows. He knows. She knows. It knows. Everyone knows. So why is everyone singular? Everyone is many, many people, right? Yes, that's true, but everyone is just one group of people. It's one group and it contains everyone. That's why it's singular. Okay, let's have a look at some more examples. Everyone want to go there. Is this okay? No, it isn't, because again, we haven't used a singular verb with everyone. So the correct answer should be everyone wants to go there. Everyone in the world want to learn English. What's wrong with this sentence? Again, we need that S with the word want. Everyone in the world wants to learn English. Everyone likes eating ice cream. Is this okay? Yes, it is, because we've used a singular verb with everyone. Everyone likes. Okay, we have learned about 5 common grammar mistakes in English and why those mistakes are wrong. So now let's have a little quiz to test your understanding. I will show you a sentence and I want you to tell me, is the sentence correct or not correct and why? Number 1, school's fun, I really like it. This sentence is okay because we've used an object, it, with the word like. Remember, normally when you use the word like, you need to use an object with like. Number 2, everyone wants to be a millionaire. This sentence is correct because remember, everyone is singular and wants is singular, so these two words go together. Number 3, school's fun, I really enjoy. This sentence is not correct because we haven't used an object with enjoy. So we should say, I really enjoy it. Or you could say, I really enjoy school. Just remember, normally when we use the word enjoy, we need to use an object with enjoy. Number 4, have you ever eaten there before? This sentence is not correct. It should be, have you ever eaten there before? Remember, normally when we use the word have, we need to use it with a past participle, not a present tense verb. Last question, question number 5. My course is for 5 years. This sentence is okay because we're not using the duration to describe the course. We are saying how long the course is for. But if we said it's a 5 years course, then this would be incorrect. The correct sentence in this case would be it's a 5-year course. When you're speaking English, do you sometimes feel like it's hard to say words and phrases, like your mouth isn't working properly? Well, this is a very common problem that many English learners have, and it's normally caused by students not understanding how to use connected speech. Many students learning English love to say every single sound, but this is not how native speakers speak. Native speakers like to speak quickly, and to do that, they often change sounds, add sounds, and sometimes even remove sounds. So in today's video, you are going to learn how to pronounce 5 common phrases like a native speaker. Are you ready? Let's go. The first phrase for today is I would like to. I would like to. This is a phrase that we use when we want to request something. It's a formal phrase and not normally used between friends. When a native speaker says it really quickly, it sounds like this. I'd like to. I'd like to. I'd like to. We don't say I would. We join them together and we say I'd. I'd. Now, note here how we do not say I'd. I'd. We stop the air from coming out and we say I'd. I'd. And we don't say to, we say to. 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 So the whole phrase sounds like this. I'd like to. I'd like to. I'd like to. And an example sentence could be, I'd like to make an appointment for next Friday, please. So which do you think is easier to say? I would like to or I'd like to? The second one, right? So now you try. I'd like to. I'd like to. The second phrase is, how is it going? How is it going? This is a phrase that we can use to start a conversation. It's a bit of a funny phrase because how is what going? What does it mean, right? But this phrase just means how are you? And when a native speaker says it really quickly, it normally sounds like this. How's it going? How's it going? How's it going? We don't say how is. We join them together and we say how's. How's. And that last sound should be like a z sound. Your throat should vibrate. How's. And then we don't say how's it. We join them together as well and we say how's it. How's it. How's it. And with that final T sound, we stop the air again. We say how's it. We don't say how's it. Nope. How's it. And a lot of the time, native speakers don't say going with that ing sound. They get rid of the G and they just say going. Going. So when the native speaker says the whole phrase, it sounds like this. How's it going? How's it going? How's it going? So which one do you think is easier? How is it going or how's it going? The second one, right? Now you try. How's it going? The third phrase is, what do you think? What do you think? This is a very common phrase that we use to ask someone's opinion about something. And when a native speaker says it really quickly, it sounds like this. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? We don't say what do you. We join those 3 words together and we say, what do ya? What do ya? What do ya? And this is the same with most phrases that start with what do you. You can pronounce it like this. What do ya? What do ya? For example, what do you do? What do you eat? What do you like? So what do you think is easier? What do you think or what do you think? The second one, right? So now you try. What do you think? What do you think? The fourth phrase is, could you repeat that please? Could you repeat that please? This is a very polite way to ask someone, What did you say? It's a formal phrase and it's not normally used between friends. And when a native speaker says this really quickly, it sounds like this. Could you repeat that, please? Could you repeat that, please? Could you repeat that, please? We don't say could you. We join those together and we say could ya. Could ya. Could ya. And we don't say repeat. No, we stop the air with that final T sound. We say repeat. Repeat. And this is the same with the next word, that. We don't say that. We stop the air from coming out and we say that. That. So when you put that all together, it sounds like this. Could you repeat that, please? Could you repeat that, please? Could ya repeat that, please? So which do you think is easier? Could you repeat that, please? Or could you repeat that, please? The second one, right? So now you try. Could you repeat that, please? The fifth and final phrase is, do you want to? Do you want to? This is a very informal way to invite someone to do something. For example, do you want to go to the beach today? When a native speaker says this really quickly, it sounds like this. Do you wanna? Do you wanna? Do you wanna? We don't say do you. We put those together and we just say one sound, j. 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 And we don't say want to. We also join them together and we say wanna. 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 So the whole phrase sounds like this. Do you wanna? Do you wanna? Do you wanna? Which do you think is easier? Do you want to or do you wanna? The second one, right? Now you try. Do you wanna? Do you wanna? Okay, let's start off with some formal phrases first. Number one, I'm happy to be of assistance. I'm happy to be of assistance. This means I feel good to help you. I am happy to help you. This phrase is very formal and not normally used between friends. Let's pretend you work in a call center and you're on the phone to one of your customers and you spend 10 minutes helping him. When you finish helping him, he says to you, "Thank you so much for your help." You can say, "I'm happy to be of assistance." This is very polite and very professional. Number two, I'm happy to be of service. I'm happy to be of service. This is a very formal phrase and normally used in places like luxury hotels. I'm happy to be of service means I am happy to have helped you. Let's pretend you work at reception for a very luxury hotel. You have a guest who comes to check in, and when you finish checking him in, he says, "Thank you for your help." You can say to him, "I'm happy to be of service, sir." This is very polite and very professional. Number three, I'm happy to help. I'm happy to help. This is also another formal phrase. Let's pretend you work in a shop and your job is to help customers. One day you have a customer and you spend 10 minutes helping him select the product which is right for him. And after you finish helping him, he says to you, "Thanks for all your help today." You can say, "I'm happy to help." I'm happy to help. This is a very polite way to say, "You're welcome." Okay, now let's look at some informal phrases. Number four, no worries. No worries. No worries means it's not a big problem. It's nothing to worry about. This is a very informal phrase and it's normally used in casual situations between friends and family. For example, let's pretend you help your dad with something. And when you finish helping him, he says, "Thanks." You can say back to him, "No worries." No worries. This is a really good phrase to use in informal situations and it will make you sound like a native speaker. Number 5, not a problem. Not a problem. This is also another informal phrase, and it's normally used in casual situations between friends and family. This phrase means exactly what it says. It means it was no problem to help or do what you did. It didn't inconvenience you. Let's pretend you help your mum bring in some shopping from outside. And when you bring in the shopping, she says to you, thanks. You can say back to her, not a problem. Not a problem. This is a very common phrase we use to say you're welcome in informal situations. So try it yourself and you will sound like a native speaker. Number 6, it was my pleasure. It was my pleasure. This phrase can be informal or formal depending on how you use it. Pleasure means a good feeling. So if you say it was my pleasure, it means I felt good to help you. Let's pretend you are a job interviewer, and after you finish interviewing someone, the person you interviewed says to you, thanks for your time. You can say to them, it was my pleasure. It was my pleasure. But if you want to make it less formal, you can just say pleasure. Pleasure. This is much less formal than saying it was my pleasure. Number 7, it was nothing. It was nothing. This phrase is informal and can be used in most situations that aren't really formal. It was nothing just means it was no problem. It didn't take any effort to do what you did. Let's pretend your friend just had a baby and you babysit your friend's baby for the day while she's at work. And when she comes home from work, she says to you, thanks for looking after my baby today. You can say, it was nothing. It was nothing. This is a really nice way to say, you're welcome. Number 8, any time. Any time. This phrase is informal and it can be used in most situations that aren't really formal. Anytime means exactly what it says. It means you are happy to help that person at any time. Let's pretend your friend calls you and he asks you about computers and you help him with his questions. When you finish talking, he says, thanks for all your help. You can say any time. Any time. This means he can ask you any time. This is a really nice way to say you're welcome. Number 9, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. This phrase is informal and it can be used in most situations that aren't really formal. Don't worry about it means exactly what it says. It means don't think about it. It was not a problem to help and you don't have to say thank you. Let's pretend your friend asks you to borrow $50 and you give him the $50 to borrow and he says, thanks so much. You can say, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. This is a really nice way to say, you're welcome. Number 10, don't mention it. Don't mention it. This phrase is informal and it can be used in most situations that aren't really formal. The word mention means to talk about something. So if you say don't mention it, that means don't talk about it. It was no problem to help. Let's pretend you help your friend do a university project and at the end he says to you, thanks so much for your help, I really appreciate it. You can say, don't mention it. Don't mention it. This is a very good phrase to say you're welcome and you'll sound like a native speaker. Did you know that if someone says thank you to you, you can sometimes reply by saying thank you back to them? Let's pretend you help your friend with something. And after you help your friend, that friend buys you a really expensive watch to say thank you. And when he gives it to you, he says, thank you so much for all your help. I really appreciate it. You can say back to your friend, no, thank you. No, thank you. And note here how I really emphasize the word you. I don't say no, thank you. I say no, thank you. So remember, if you use this phrase, make sure you emphasize the you. And the last phrase for today is you are welcome. Huh? But Shane, you said you were teaching us different ways to say you're welcome. Well, listen again. I said you are welcome. When we say this, we really emphasize the are. You are welcome, not you are welcome. So try this phrase if you really want to put some energy into your speech. Okay, they are the 12 phrases for today. But before we finish the lesson, let's have a little quiz to see how much you remember. Are you ready? Let's go. Number 1, you work in a very expensive hotel. You help your guest with something and your guest says to you, "Thanks for all your help." What can you say back? Well, you can say one of the formal phrases that we learned today, such as, "I'm happy to be of service," or "I'm happy to be of assistance." Number 2, what does "don't mention it" mean? Mention means to talk about something. So if we say "don't mention it" to say "you're welcome," it means it was no problem. You don't have to thank me. Number 3, what does the phrase "it was my pleasure" mean? Pleasure is a good feeling. So when we say "it was my pleasure" to say "you're welcome," this means it made me feel good to help you. Number 4, let's pretend you help your friend with something. Your friend says thank you, and you want to let your friend know that your friend can ask for help whenever he needs help. What can you say to him? You can say any time. Any time. Last question, question number 5. What are 3 ways you can say "you're welcome" in an informal way? You can say "no worries," "not a problem," "don't worry about it," or any of the other phrases that we looked at today. This is a cutting board. Cutting board. I know it's spelt with a T, but when we pronounce it, we actually use a D sound. Cutting board. Cutting board. And you can also call this a chopping board. Chopping board. This is a colander. Colander. 3 sounds. Colander. Colander. This is a measuring jug. Measuring jug. The S in this word is pronounced the same as in the word television. Television. Measuring. Measuring. Measuring jug. This is a pot. Pot. When we say this word, we stop the air with that final T sound. We normally don't say pot. No, we say pot. Pot. This is a pan. 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 This is an egg flip. Egg flip. With that final P sound, we stop the air from coming out. We don't say flip. No, we say flip. Flip. Egg flip. This is a spatula. 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 The T sound is actually pronounced as a CH sound. Spatula. Spatula. These are tongs. Tongs. When we talk about tongs, we sometimes need to use the word pair. For example, I am holding a pair of tongs. We don't say I am holding a tongs. This is a plate. Plate. With that final T sound, we stop the air from coming out. We don't say plate. No, we say plate. Plate. This is a bowl. Bowl. B-O. Bowl. This is a glass. Glass. G-l-a-s. Glass. Glass. This is a cup. Cup. When we say this word, we stop the air with that final P sound. We don't say cup. No, we say cup. Cup. This is a fork, fork, fork. This is a knife, knife. The K in this word is silent. That means we don't pronounce it. So when we pronounce this word, it's knife. These are spoons, spoons. Normally, smaller spoons like this are called teaspoons, and bigger spoons like this one are called tablespoons. Teaspoon, tablespoon. Did you know there is a word to describe these three things? It's called cutlery, cutlery. So for example, if you go to a restaurant and you don't have a knife, a spoon and a fork, you can say, "Excuse me, could I have some cutlery, please?" Cutlery. This is a toaster, toaster, toaster. It's used to make toast. This is a scales, scales, scales. It's used to weigh things. This is a blender, blender, blender. It's used to make things like smoothies and milkshakes. This is a jug, jug. You can also call it a kettle, kettle. It's used to boil water. This is an oven, oven, oven. With that V sound, your throat should vibrate. Oven. These are oven mitts, oven mitts. You put them on your hands to protect your hands when you're cooking. Oven mitts. This is a fridge, fridge, fridge. With that DG sound, it sounds like this. J, j. Your throat should vibrate as well. J, fridge. This is a stove top, stove top, stove top. And with that final P sound, we stop the air from coming out and we just say top. We don't say top. This is a bench top, bench top, bench top. Okay, they are all the words for today. Now let's have a little quiz to see how many words you remember. This is a spatula, spatula. This is an egg flip, egg flip. This is a measuring jug, measuring jug. This is a scales, scales. These are oven mitts, oven mitts, oven mitts. The word for these three things together is cutlery, cutlery. This is a pair of tongs, tongs. I am so bored. What am I talking about here? Am I describing the situation? No. Am I talking about how I feel on the inside? Yes. So that's why we use ed adjectives to talk about feelings. Another example, he is so excited. He is getting a new phone today. Am I describing the phone? No. Am I describing the situation? No. Am I talking about how he feels on the inside? Yes. So again, we use ed adjectives to talk about feelings. One more example. They are really interested in learning languages. What am I talking about here? Am I describing a language or languages? No. Am I talking about how they feel on the inside about languages? Yes. So that's why we use ed. It's really easy, right? Ed and feelings. That movie last night was so interesting. What am I talking about here? Am I talking about how I felt about the movie? No. Am I talking about the movie? Am I describing the movie? Yes. So that's why we use ing adjectives to describe something. Another example, it's so exciting. He is getting a new phone today. What am I talking about? Am I talking about him? No. Am I talking about the phone? No. I am talking about the situation. I am describing the situation of him getting a new phone. It's very exciting. And one more example. He never goes out. He never says anything. He is a very boring person. What am I talking about here? Am I talking about how he feels? No. Am I describing him, what he is like? Yes. So that's why we use ing adjectives. We use ing adjectives to describe something or someone. So in summary, ed for feelings, ing to describe something or someone. Now, let's have a little quiz to test your understanding. Question number 1. I've got nothing to do today. I'm so bored or boring? And the correct answer is I'm so bored. Why? Because we are talking about my feelings, how I feel on the inside. Number 2, I've got nothing to do today. It's so bored or boring? And the correct answer is it's so boring. Why? Because I'm not talking about my feelings, I am talking about the situation. The situation of having nothing to do is so boring. Question number 3. My new teacher at school is very interested or interesting. He has lived in many different countries. And the correct answer is my new teacher at school is very interesting. Why? Because I'm describing him. I am talking about his personality. Number 4, I feel so annoyed or annoying. I just can't solve this problem. And the correct answer is I feel so annoyed. Why? Because we are talking about feelings. Last question, question number 5. That workout was very tiring or tired? And the correct answer is that workout was really tiring. Why? Because we're not talking about my feelings, your feelings, his feelings. We are describing the workout. An idiom is a phrase which has a different meaning than the individual words in the phrase itself. For example, piece of cake, piece of cake. This is a piece of cake, right? But the idiom piece of cake means something very easy. So just because you know the words in an idiom doesn't mean you will understand the meaning of the idiom. So let's not waste any more time and let's look at the first idiom for today. Number 1, add insult to injury. This means making a bad situation even worse. An example sentence, the boss asking the staff to take a pay cut is adding insult to injury. Number 2, beating a dead horse. This means spending time or effort on something that is already finished or can't be changed. An example, she said she doesn't want to go out with you. Stop beating a dead horse. Number 3, the best of both worlds. This means you get good things from two different situations with no disadvantages. For example, I've got the best of both worlds. I've got a great family and an amazing career. Number 4, bite the bullet. This means doing something that you really don't want to do. For example, I know you hate going to the dentist, but you just have to bite the bullet and go. Number 5, biting off more than you can chew. This means trying to do a task or many tasks that you can't do. For example, don't you think working 3 jobs is biting off more than you can chew? Number 6, burning bridges. This means to end something, normally a relationship or an opportunity. An example, if you leave school now, you'll be burning many bridges. Number 7, caught between a rock and a hard place. This means you have two choices, but both of those choices are not good. An example sentence could be, I'm caught between a rock and a hard place. I can stay in my current job where I hate my boss, or I can change jobs and get less money. Number 8, cool as a cucumber. This means very calm and relaxed. An example sentence could be, after he did 50 push-ups, he was as cool as a cucumber. Number 9, don't count your chickens before they hatch. This means don't make plans regarding something that you think will happen because it may not happen. An example could be, don't count your chickens before you hatch. Wait until you get a job offer before you quit your job. Number 10, don't judge a book by its cover. This means you can't know what something or someone is like just by looking at them. An example could be, he doesn't look very smart, but don't judge a book by its cover. Number 11, face the music. This means to accept the consequences of something you have done. An example could be, stop running away from your problems. It's time to face the music. Number 12, getting a second wind. This means having energy after first feeling tired or feeling like you have no energy. An example sentence could be, after lunch, I felt so tired, but now I'm getting a second wind. Number 13, give someone the cold shoulder. This means an unfriendly attitude towards someone, normally by not talking to them or ignoring them. An example sentence could be, she's been giving me the cold shoulder ever since I forgot her birthday. Number 14, go cold turkey. This means when you stop something immediately. And an example sentence could be, he's giving up smoking cold turkey. Number 15, hit the books. This means to study. An example sentence could be, he's got an exam tomorrow, so he's hitting the books tonight. Number 16, to hit the nail on the head. This means to say something that is exactly right. An example sentence could be, you hit the nail on the head about him. I totally agree with you. Number 17, hit the sack. This means to go to sleep. An example sentence, what time do you normally hit the sack? Number 18, in hot water. This means to be in a difficult situation. An example sentence could be careful what you say about people because it could put you in hot water. Number 19, to kill two birds with one stone. This means to accomplish or achieve two tasks with one action. And an example sentence could be, I killed two birds with one stone because I went to the shops on my way to the gym. Number 20, letting the cat out of the bag. This means to make a secret known, to reveal a secret. An example sentence could be, I told him to keep it a secret, but he let the cat out of the bag. Number 21, to lose your touch. This means to not be able to do something really well, but in the past you could do it really well. An example sentence could be, I used to play soccer really well, but now I've lost my touch. Number 22, no pain, no gain. This means you must have some difficulty if you want to get better. Things must be hard if you want to get better. An example sentence could be, you have to work hard in the gym if you want to see results. No pain, no gain. Number 23, on the ball. This means when someone is very alert or aware of what's happening around them. An example sentence could be, the new employee is really on the ball. But please note, we say on the ball, not on a ball. Number 24, piece of cake. This means very easy. An example sentence could be, English is a piece of cake. And the last one, number 25, to pitch in. This means to help do something, normally in a group. An example sentence could be, if we all pitch in, we can get the task done quicker. A phrasal verb normally has two parts. The first part is a verb. A verb is a doing word, an action. And the second part is a preposition. A preposition shows the relationship between two things. Phrasal verbs are just like normal verbs. You can change their tense. For example, pick up. This is a phrasal verb which can mean to lift something up. He picked up the pen, past. He is picking up the pen, present. He will pick up the pen, future. Easy, right? Okay, let's look at the first phrasal verb for today. Number 1, ask around. This means to ask many people the same question to get help. For example, I lost my dog, so I'm asking around to see if anyone has seen him. Number 2, back somebody up. This means to support or to help someone. An example sentence could be, I had a problem with my boss, but my colleague backed me up. Number 3, break down. This means to stop working, and this phrasal verb is normally used with machines. For example, my car broke down last night, so I have to get it fixed. Number 4, break in. This means to enter a place without permission, normally by breaking a window or a door. An example, somebody broke into his house last night and stole his laptop. Number 5, break up. This means to end a relationship. An example sentence, John and Mary broke up last weekend. Number 6, ring somebody up. This means to use the phone to talk to someone. An example, I couldn't ring him up last night because I had no signal. Number 7, catch up. This means to meet someone. An example sentence could be, do you want to catch up for a coffee tomorrow? Number 8, check in. This means to report your arrival somewhere, normally at a hotel or an airport. An example sentence, the check-in counter is over there. Number 9, check out. This means to report your departure somewhere, normally at a hotel. An example sentence could be, what time do you have to check out? Number 10, drop out. This means to stop doing something before it's finished. This phrasal verb is normally used with university and school. An example sentence could be, you shouldn't drop out of school. Number 11, eat out. This means to eat at a restaurant and not eat at home. An example sentence, I don't want to cook tonight, let's eat out. Number 12, fall apart. This means to break something into smaller pieces. An example, these shoes are really old, they are falling apart. Number 13, get along. This means when two people like each other. An example sentence, they are really good friends, they get along really well. Number 14, get around. This means to travel to many places. An example sentence could be, he's so lucky, he's always getting around to new places. Number 15, get together. This means to meet. An example sentence could be, let's get together tomorrow after work and go to the gym. Number 16, give something back. This means to return. An example sentence could be, give his book back. Number 17, go out. This means to leave the house and go somewhere. An example sentence could be, I want to go out tonight. Number 18, go without. This means to not have something. An example sentence could be, he's going without new shoes so he can save money. Number 19, hand something down. This means to give something to someone who is younger than you because you don't need it anymore. An example sentence could be, I handed my clothes down to my younger brother because they don't fit me anymore. Number 20, let someone in. This means to allow someone to enter. An example sentence could be, he's waiting at the door, let him in. Number 21, look down on someone. This means to think you are better or superior than someone else. An example sentence could be, he's always looking down on people who aren't as rich as he is. Number 22, make up. This means to be friendly with someone after an argument or a problem. An example sentence could be, they are always fighting, but in the end, they always make up. Number 23, pass out. This means to become unconscious, normally when you are drunk or sick. An example sentence could be, after he drank the bottle of vodka, he passed out. Number 24, pass something up. This means to not accept something. An example sentence could be, he passed the job offer up because the pay wasn't high enough. And last one, number 25, put somebody down. This means to make somebody not feel good. An example sentence could be, he's always putting his staff members down when he's in a bad mood. I can speak English, but before I say anything, I have to think of the sentence in my language, then I translate it to English in my head, and then I say it. Does this sound like you? Has this ever happened to you? If it has, then this video is for you. What's up, guys? My name is Shane, and today we are talking about how to stop translating in your head and start thinking in English. This is a very common problem that I hear from a lot of my students, and it's a problem for two main reasons. The first reason is that if you always translate in your head, you're going to speak English very slowly. Because first, you have to think about it in your language, and then in your head, you have to translate it to English. And the second reason is that translating may make your English sound unnatural. For example, in many languages, the sentence, it uses time 10 minutes, is correct. But if you translate that into English and say it, it uses time 10 minutes, it sounds a little bit strange because a native speaker would say it takes 10 minutes. It takes 10 minutes. So in today's video, we look at 5 things that you can do to stop translating and start thinking in English. Starting to think in English is easy. All you have to do is to do everything that you can in English. If you can do it in English, do it. So my first tip for today is get your phone and change your phone's language to English. Yes, this might be hard, but when learning languages, the hardest things normally give you the best results. And you use your phone for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours a day, right? So if you're using your phone and you're always seeing English like dates, times, click here to send this message, swipe to unlock, this English will go into your head and you'll start thinking in English. And seeing more English is one of the best ways to help you to start thinking in English. The second thing you can do is to start naming things around you. Wherever you are, if you're at work, if you're on a bus, if you're on a train, if you're at home, look around and name things in English. But when you're naming things, make sure that when you see something, that the English word comes into your head. You don't want to translate from your language to English. So let's practice this right now. I will point at something and I want the English word to go into your head. Laptop, table, phone, water bottle, book, plant, lamp. And another thing you can do is that when you hear a word in English, try and have a picture of that word go into your head. So for example, if you hear the word laptop, in your head, in your mind, you want to see a picture of a laptop. You want to really feel the meaning of the word. If you start to do this, if you start to practice this consistently, thinking in English will become natural. It will become really easy for you. Now, the next thing you can do is to start putting all of those words into sentences. Talk to yourself in your head. It's your own little world up there. You can say whatever you like. You can talk about whatever you like. For example, you could talk about what you see. Wow, that tree is so big. I wonder how long it took to grow that tall. You can describe what you feel. It's so cold today, but it wasn't as cold as yesterday. You can describe what you think. That was such a good workout today, but I think next time I will do a longer warm-up. This is meant to be fun. It's not meant to be stressful. You can do it anywhere, anytime, and talk about anything. You can even try having conversations with yourself in your head in English only. So you say one thing in English, and then you can reply to yourself in English, all in your head. And if a word of your language comes into your head, that's okay. It doesn't matter. Just stop, start again, but try and only think in English. And the fourth thing you can do is every day when you wake up, tell yourself in English what you want to do that day. This doesn't have to take long. It can take 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. It's entirely up to you. And I know that some people can't really think when they first wake up, like me. When I wake up, I can't really think. So if that's like you, you can do this activity in the shower or when you're eating breakfast or when you're getting ready for work. Just make sure you do it consistently every day. And you can do it before you go to bed as well. You can think about your day and tell yourself in your head in English what was good and what wasn't so good. And the next thing you can do to help you to start thinking in English is to stop using translators. Because like I said in the intro, when you use translators, your English might sound a little bit unnatural or strange. So if you want to know what a native speaker would say, watch a native speaker in that same situation and see what they say. Listen to them. And after you've seen them and listened to them, you can copy the native speakers. And then you will also sound like a native speaker. No thinking, just copy. And I understand that sometimes you will have to look up words that you hear or you see or you read, and that's okay. But if you're looking up words, try and do one of these two things. Number one, type the word into Google Images. For example, if it's a noun, if it's a desk, you want to know what's the difference between a table and a desk. Google desk, Google table and look at the images, and then you can get a feeling of what the real difference is between those two words. If it's something like a verb, maybe it's the word run, and you type that into Google Images, you will see someone running. You will get the feeling of the word run. The second thing you can do is use an English to English dictionary. If you're watching this video right now and you understand some or most of what I'm saying, you can understand English. So you don't need to use your own language. You can search a word in an English dictionary and then you can see the English definition. Using an English to English dictionary will help you to think in English more, and it will also help you improve your ability to explain things in English. Because if you're always reading definitions in English, you will start to see how native speakers explain things. So this is one of the best things you can do if you want to start improving your English and start thinking in English. Have you been learning English for many years, but you still feel like you can't speak English confidently? If you answered yes to this question, then this video is for you. This is a very common problem that many English learners have. Why is that? Why is it that students, they spend hours and hours and hours studying English, but they can't speak English confidently? Well, in today's video, I tell you why that is, and I tell you 6 things that you should be doing to improve your confidence when speaking English. Are you ready? Let's go. Are you learning English just to pass an exam? Just to pass IELTS? Well, this may be one of the biggest reasons why you have no confidence when speaking English. Many students learn English just to pass exams, just to pass IELTS, but they don't learn English to communicate with native speakers, to sound like a native speaker, or to use English like a native speaker. And this is a big problem, because just because a student can pass an exam, that doesn't mean that the student can confidently communicate in English with native speakers. Now, there are 2 parts of communication. The first part is speaking, and the second part is listening. Just because a student can pass an exam, does that mean native speakers easily understand what the student is saying to them? Does that mean the student easily understands what native speakers are saying to the student? Now, I understand that in life, sometimes we need to pass exams, so we should study for them, right? And that's okay, that's good. I think education is very important. But if you study English just to pass an exam, just to pass IELTS, you probably won't be able to communicate confidently in English. Why? Because writing something onto a piece of paper is very different than actually talking to a native speaker, listening to what they have to say, and then responding to the native speaker so that the native speaker understands you. So instead of studying English just to pass an exam, why don't you do both? Why don't you study English to pass your exam and to communicate with native speakers? Why don't you study English to make a phone call in English, to tell a story in English, to get information in English, to open a bank account in English, to check in at a hotel in English? If you start learning English to really communicate with native speakers, to exchange ideas, to exchange meanings, this is when your confidence in speaking English will really improve. So I will ask you again, are you learning English just to pass an exam? If you are, you may need to change that. Can you make the sounds of English like a native English speaker? Do you understand English grammar? Do you understand basic vocabulary in English? Many students try to speak English and they don't understand the basics of English. How can you speak English if you can't make the sounds of English? How can you speak English if you're using your own language's sounds to speak English? How can you understand what a native speaker is saying to you if you don't understand grammar or if you don't understand basic vocabulary? Not knowing how to correctly and easily pronounce the sounds in English may be a very big reason why you can't speak English confidently. Why? Because when you're speaking to native speakers, you'll always be thinking, am I saying it correctly? Will they understand me? Not understanding basic words and grammar in English may also cause you to be not confident when speaking English. Why? Because when you're communicating with native speakers, you may be scared or worried that you won't understand what they are saying to you. Imagine this. You can make the sounds of English like a native speaker. You can understand everything you hear in English. Would you feel confident in English? Would you feel confident using English to communicate with native speakers? Learn the basics. This is one of the most important things you can do if you want to speak English confidently. Are you practicing to improve your confidence in English? And when I say practicing, I mean really practicing. If you just read a book or learn a new word or learn a new phrase, this is not practicing to improve your confidence when speaking English. You have to be honest with yourself. How do we get confident in something? We have to do the thing that we want to be confident in. For example, you have been speaking your language for many years. That's why you are confident in it. So if you practice speaking English a lot, your confidence when speaking English will improve. Now, there are two ways you can improve your confidence in English by actually speaking. The first way is by practicing by yourself. What you can do is record yourself speaking English. Use your phone, use your iPad, your computer, your microphone to record yourself speaking English. After you have finished speaking, listen to yourself and see how you sound. Compare yourself to native speakers. Do you sound like a native speaker? What are the 3 things that make you sound not like a native speaker? And after you learn those 3 things, then you can fix them, you can improve them. The more you do this and the better you become at speaking, the more confident you will get in speaking English to native speakers. The second way is by speaking to people. Speak to native speakers, speak to non-native speakers. Use English in every opportunity that you can. Use English wherever you can. Use English in any situation that you can. Like I said before, the more you practice speaking English, the more confident you will be in speaking English. Now, I'll give you an example. When I first started taking videos and talking to a camera, I felt nervous, I felt weird, I felt awkward. But now I have been practicing for many months. So now, speaking to a camera, it feels easy for me, it feels natural. It doesn't feel difficult anymore. So I will ask you again, are you really practicing to improve your confidence in English by actually speaking? If you answered no to this question, then maybe you should change that. Are you afraid of making mistakes when speaking English? This is another thing that causes English learners to not be confident when speaking English. They are afraid of making mistakes. They are afraid of saying something that is wrong. Making mistakes is one of the best things you can do as a language learner. Why? Because you can learn from your mistakes and get better. And that's why you're learning English, right? To get better, to improve your English. If you change your attitude to not be worried about making mistakes in English, this will improve your confidence when speaking English because you won't be worrying about saying something wrong or something that's incorrect. If you're not worried about making mistakes when speaking English, this will improve your confidence and make you want to use the language more so you can make mistakes and learn more and get better with your English. So I will ask you again, are you afraid of making mistakes when speaking English? If you are, then maybe you should change that. Are you putting yourself into uncomfortable situations every week where you have to speak English? This means, are you doing things in English that make you feel not confident, that make you feel like you're not sure what to do or what to say? This is one of the best things you can do if you want to improve your confidence when speaking English. Why? Because if you're just doing the same thing every day, every week, and you're not learning new things and you're not putting yourself into new situations, you may stagnate. Stagnate means to stay the same, to not get better, to not improve, and you don't want that. When you're learning English, you want to be getting better all the time. You want to be getting more confident, learning new words, learning new phrases. And one of the best ways to do that is to put yourself into situations that make you feel uncomfortable. Why do you feel uncomfortable in these situations? Because you don't know what to say. You don't know what will happen. You don't know what to do. If you knew what would happen, if you knew what to say, you wouldn't feel uncomfortable in this situation, right? For example, if you make a phone call in your language, you probably feel very confident, right? Why? Because you've been using your language for 20, 30, 40 years, however old you are. You know what to say, you know what to do because you've done it before. Now, the only way to make yourself feel confident in those situations is to go into those situations and learn from them. Nothing bad will happen. Only good things can happen if you go into those situations. You will learn something new. You will see how native speakers use English in that situation, and then you can copy them. Learning all these new things will improve your confidence when speaking English. So I will ask you again, are you putting yourself into uncomfortable situations every week where you have to use English? If the answer is no, then maybe you should change that. Are you writing down your fears about speaking English and the worst possible things that could happen if your fears came true? This is one of the best things you can do to improve your confidence when speaking English. Why? Because one of the reasons you may not feel confident in using English is because you're a bit scared or worried or nervous to use English with native speakers, right? And that's okay, that's normal. But what you can do right now to help to fix that is to write down your fears about speaking English. For example, maybe you think that if you speak English, someone may not understand what you're saying. Or you may worry that you may forget a word when you're speaking to a native speaker. After you've written down your fears, then I want you to write down next to your fears, what is the worst possible thing that could happen if your fears came true? For example, if you say something in English and a native speaker doesn't understand you, what is the worst thing that could happen? Maybe he will say, "What did you say?" Maybe he will look at you funny. But is that really that bad if someone looks at you funny? Or if they say, "What did you say?" If you do this with all of your fears, you will see that nothing bad can happen. Yes, you may make a mistake when speaking English, but like we talked about before, making mistakes is a good thing because you can learn from it. And another thing, if you make a mistake in English, it doesn't matter. Everyone makes mistakes in this life. And if you make a mistake, it won't matter in a minute, in an hour, in a day. The person you're speaking to probably will never think about the mistake you made. He is too busy thinking about his own life. Fear is all in the mind, so please don't worry when you're speaking English. Nothing bad can happen. So I will ask you again, are you writing down your fears about speaking English and then writing the worst possible thing that could happen if those fears came true? If you're not, maybe you should. Question number 1. Sam, he said, "I want to speak English. How I seek it." So I think this question is just asking, how do I learn English? Now, to learn English, you first need to learn the basics. The basics of English are pronunciation, vocabulary, and grammar. You need to learn pronunciation because if you can't make the sounds of English, how can you communicate to native speakers so that they understand you? You probably can't, right? Just recently we put out an English pronunciation course which will teach you how to make every sound of English like a native speaker. And you can check out the link in the description below. So after you've learned pronunciation, you should learn vocabulary. That means really understand the meaning of basic words in English. Basic words like and, basic words like or. You need to really understand these words, and then when you're communicating with native speakers, you won't have any problems in being understood, and you won't have any problems in understanding what a native speaker is saying to you. After you've learned pronunciation and you've learned basic vocabulary, now you can start making some sentences. And to make sentences, you need to understand grammar, because grammar is what helps us to give meaning to our sentences. You should learn basic tenses in English like past perfect, present simple, future continuous. And after you learn and really understand these tenses and why we use these tenses, then again you can communicate to native speakers and you will understand what native speakers are saying to you. You won't have to guess the meaning of sentences. You will understand what the person is saying to you. You will know if it happened one time or many times. You will know if it's happening now. You will know if the person is talking about the past, the present, or the future. After you've learned the basics of English, then you can start learning some intermediate and some advanced English. You can learn things like idioms. You can learn things like slang words. But if you try and learn these things first, this will be a big problem because firstly, you haven't learned English pronunciation. Secondly, you don't understand basic English vocabulary. And thirdly, you don't understand basic English grammar. So learn the basics first and then move on to intermediate and advanced English. Question number 2. Muhammad, he says, how to improve pronunciation? Well, the first thing you want to do if you're looking to improve your pronunciation is to learn every sound of English. All words in English are made up of one sound or more than one sound. So if you know how to pronounce the sounds of English, how to make the sounds of English, you can pronounce every word correctly. After you've learned how to pronounce every sound in the English language, you can start learning more intermediate and advanced pronunciation skills, like connected speech. The best way to do this is to listen to native speakers and copy them. For example, look at this phrase here. It's pronounced, what are you doing, right? Yes, that's right, but when a native speaker says this phrase really quickly, he will say, what are you doing? What are you doing? You can see how all of the words, they come together. We don't say, what are you doing? We join them all together and we say, what are you doing? So learn to make all of the sounds of English first and then move on to more intermediate and advanced pronunciation. Question number 3. Stubborn Reet, he says, how to improve vocab. I think the best way to improve your vocabulary in English is to listen to native speakers. You will see which words they use and then you can copy them. And you will also see, which is actually more important, what words they don't use. Because sometimes when we're learning a language, we take the words from our language, translate them into English, and then use them. But this may make your English sound a little bit weird because some words from your language might not be used in English. The second best way to learn vocabulary is by reading books. This is a great way to learn because it's very relaxing. You don't have to worry about speaking to a native speaker. You don't have to worry about listening. You can just sit there and read your book in your own time at your own pace. But there's one problem with learning vocabulary from reading books, and that is some of the words and phrases in books may be a little bit formal and not really used in day-to-day life. So just be careful. When you're learning vocabulary from books, the words and phrases might be a little bit formal. Question number 4 comes from Naoman Art, and he says, the accent you use is British or American. I am from Australia and I definitely do not use an American accent. My accent is a bit of a mix between an Australian accent and a British accent. Question number 5 comes from Kin. She says, what is the difference between responsibility and accountability? This is a really good question because these words are similar, but they are different. Responsibility normally talks about when you're actually doing a task, when you're actually doing something. For example, you have a responsibility to do the best that you can. This is talking about actually doing something. It means you have a duty when you're doing that thing to do the best that you can. The word accountability normally talks about what happens after a situation is finished. For example, after you finish your task, you have to take ownership for the results. That means if something bad happens, it's your fault. If something good happens, it's your fault. So accountability means you need to take ownership for what happens after the task has finished. Question number 6 comes from Shan and says, how do native English use phrasal verbs in different ways? Phrasal verbs are not difficult if you understand how to use them. Phrasal verbs are made up of a verb and an adverb, or they can be made up by using a verb and a preposition. Phrasal verbs need to be used in the same way as normal verbs. That means sometimes you'll have to change the tense of a verb. For example, a common phrasal verb is turn up. An example sentence with this phrasal verb could be, he turned up the music. You can see here that we changed turn to turned, because this sentence is talking about the past. Now, when using a phrasal verb with a verb and an adverb, the object can be between the verb and the adverb. For example, turn the music up. Sometimes it is after the phrasal verb. For example, turn up the music. Both are correct. But if the object is a pronoun like him or her, the pronoun must go between the verb and the adverb. For example, she took it off. We cannot say she took off it. Now, when using a phrasal verb with a verb and a preposition, the object must go after the preposition. For example, they look after my children. We can't say they look my children after. Question number 7 from Denise and says, how to use both. Both means two people or two things. So if you ever hear the word both, you know it's talking about two people or two things. For example, I could say, John and Paul are both my friends. This means I'm talking about two people, John and Paul. Another example could be, would you like milk, sugar, or both? So if you say both, that means you want two things. You want the milk and you want the sugar. Question number 8 comes from Ab Visual Perspective and says, what is the correct form for the verb used with a noun without plural form? The information is or are. Uncountable nouns are considered singular. That means if you use an uncountable noun, you normally need to use is, because is a singular verb. We use it with singular subjects. So the example in the question, the information is or the information are, we should say the information is. Another example could be, the furniture in this house is very beautiful. Furniture is uncountable, so we use is. But if you put something before the uncountable noun, which is plural, then you should change is to are. For example, if you say the 5 sets of information, then after that we would need to use are. For example, the 5 sets of information are over there. We use are because 5 sets is plural. It's more than one. Question number 9 comes from Inst Shab, and he says, what's the easiest way to speak English fluently? Speaking English fluently is something that takes time and practice, but it is possible. Many people in this world have learned to speak English fluently, so that means you can too. From my experience of teaching languages and learning languages, the best way to become fluent in a language is by first learning the basics. The basics of English are pronunciation, vocabulary, and grammar. If you can't make the sounds of English, how can you speak in English? If you don't know any words in English, how can you make sentences? If you don't know any grammar in English, how can you understand the meaning of sentences in English? After you have learned these 3 things, you can immerse yourself in English content that is made for native speakers. You can watch, listen, and then copy what you hear. This will help you to start sounding like a native speaker yourself. But for example, if you try and learn idioms and slang in English before you understand pronunciation, this is going to make learning English very hard for you because you'll always be thinking about your pronunciation. So, in summary, learn the basics first and then start learning more intermediate and advanced English. Question number 10 comes from Jules and says, what's the difference between land and country? The word land means part of the earth, the surface of the earth, which is not covered in water. So for example, right now I am on land because I am not on water. But in some situations, land can also mean country. For example, he wants to be the best boxer in the land. This means he wants to be the best boxer in the country. Normally, the word land isn't used like this, but it's always good to know. Now, the word country means a certain part of land which has one government, one army, one police force, and other things like that. For example, my country is Australia. Some other examples of countries could be Canada, China, and Brazil.